we had talked about the sexual reproduction in angiosperms, and we got an introductory lesson where we said that the main site for sexual reproduction in the flowering plants is of course the flower. So we are going to see the structure of a typical flower, what all it contains and where that site of sexual reproduction would be located. Okay. Now when we talk about sexual reproduction, I would ask you to recall what we have studied is that there has to be formation of gametes, right, inside that zone of the plant which is known as gametophyte. It is haploid, while the diploid part is sporophyte. Alright. The flower could be bisexual or it could be unisexual. It depends what type of flower it is. If it is bisexual, it has both male and female gametophytes present. That means the organs for male and female sex reproduction are present within the flower itself. So we will see the structure of flower and you will get an idea what we are going to deal with next in the coming lessons. The first thing that you have to see over here is a beautiful looking flower. Now please remember, these flowers are beautiful for a purpose. They are not beautiful to make us feel happy. They are beautiful to attract certain organisms towards themselves so that pollination could be brought about. Now we will get to that as well. For now, what you have to see is that a typical flower is the reproductive organ that is present in the angiosperms. It has 4 parts, okay, and by 4 parts I mean it has 4 whorls. There are 4 whorls in the flower. It is like this. Supposedly, what is a whorl? Whorl is this. This is the outermost whorl. If we are seeing the flower like this, then what you see is an outermost whorl, then lies an inner whorl, then inner and the innermost. Alright, it's like concentric circles you are having. The outermost whorl is called calyx and it bears appendages called sepals, the green part. My diagram looks somewhat like stellar, but what you see over here is this is the outermost whorl bearing appendages known as sepals. As you can see over here, this part, this is the sepal, green part. Then inner to it lies the second whorl that is known as corolla. This calyx and corolla is the name of the whorl and the appendage happens to be the colorful petal, huge sized or small sized. This is the petal that is present, okay. Now it is brightly colored to attract the insects if the plant is pollinated by the insects. Now moving inwards, we have Androshim. Otium refers to house and andro means related to male. So this is that whorl which is going to bear the male part of the flower, okay. So Androshim has its appendage known as this one, filament and anther, that is known as stamen. Alright, as you can see over here, this is stamen, that is the appendage present on the third whorl, okay, which has a long slender filament over which we have the presence of anther in which we find the pollen grains. So we have stamen that is made up of filament and anther. As you can see, this part is going to bear the pollen grains and there you would find the male gametes. That is again part of the subsequent lessons. Moving to the innermost whorl, if it is a bisexual flower, we have gynoecium. Oecium is house, gyno word is used for females. So we have the female reproductive part that is known as carpel. Okay. Now remember one thing, this word carp has something to do with fruit. So the fruit is formed out of the female part. What the female part contains? The innermost whorl is gynoecium. The appendages present on that particular whorl is known as carpel. They could be many carpels or they could be one carpel, that is morphological aspect. And these carpels, if they are studied, if you extract out the female part, what you are going to find is a sticky and disc-like stigma, as you can see over here, followed by a slender tube-like style and a convoluted ovary. Okay, so this is stigma, style and ovary, inside which you are going to find ovules, and inside the ovules there lies the female gamete. So this was all about the structure of a typical flower. Moving further, what we have is, we have androshim in front of us. Over here, as we talked, that androshim is the whorl that has the male reproductive part, and the male reproductive part is stamen. What it bears is this, you can see, this is anther which is having the pollen grains inside it, and this lies the long filament. Very simple, very easy, and I assume that this is repetition of what you have studied in your earlier classes as well. Lastly, we are going to pile up this lesson with a picture that shows us gynoecium. Gyno is for female, oecium is for house. So this is that part of the flower where female gamete would be formed. This is the cushioned or pad-like stigma. It is sticky. Then you have a slender style, and this is the ovary. Ovary is otherwise known as locule as well, but it's better you see it as ovary only. If this ovary is cut like this and observed from an upper angle, what you're going to find is, this is the ovarian wall, and inside lies the ovules. The arrangement could vary, different for all flowers, every flower in fact, the arrangement is different. That is known as placentation. Now what is that? That also is discussed in another lesson, but for now there is ovarian wall, there is ovarian locule inside which bears the ovules. These ovules are later on going to form the seeds. And where do you find the seeds? You find the seeds within a fruit. So this ovary is going to get transformed into a fruit, and this is all you have to know about the structure of a typical flower.